si G. Tanji, and for this month of March, we celebrate our Filipino-American women. Here's one of our Philam professors, Brandon Reilly, on the women of Malolos Bulacan.
On December 12, 1888, 20 concerned citizens from the town of Malolos, all women, hand-delivered a letter to the highest Spanish official in the Philippines, Governor-General Valeriano Weyler. The letter contained a simple but potentially explosive request that the colonial government sanction the building of a school for the women in their town, so that they too might receive a liberal education, including instruction in the Spanish language, linguistic medium of the colonizers. These were the women of Malolos. To understand the significance of this act, we must look back to the politics of education during the late years of Spanish rule in the Philippines. Because Spain had colonized the Philippines in 1521 so early on into the modern era and had done so thoroughly, the archipelago was in fact one of the earliest places in Asia where Western-styled education took root. The University of Santo Tomas is, for this reason, considered to be the oldest university in Asia. Institutions of education like UST were, however, few in number. Moreover, they were designed mainly to train the missionaries and, following them, Spanish officials. They certainly were not intended to educate the majority population, whom the Spanish called Indios. In fact, something closer to the opposite was true. When the Spanish wanted to keep the Indios uneducated to prevent them from learning Spanish, among other things, so that they might be more easily ruled. Thus, a petition to build a school, such as the one the women of Malolos presented, would not be enthusiastically received. What more that they wanted to construct a school for themselves, one that might educate women? What a radical idea. This remarkable story about these even more remarkable Filipinas is masterfully told in Nicanor Chong's 2004 book, The Women of Malolos. As he recounts, their campaign to construct a school came to little. A school did come into being in 1889, but was forced to shutter its doors only a few months later because of opposition from the conservative friars. Yet in failing in this campaign, they nonetheless succeeded in others. The drafting of the letter marked a mere beginning of a more enduring political activism for the women of Malolos, one that in fact lived on long after Spanish rule had ended in 1898, one that had in fact persisted through the early years of even American rule. The history of Filipino nationalism reads like an all-boys club. While we all know quite well about the accomplishments of Rizal and his colleagues, we hear too little about the women who contributed to our collective being. Many of us have even come to know about the women of Malolos simply because Rizal himself wrote a letter in support of their efforts. To commemorate Women's History Month 2016, we should strive to remember the less visible, often unseen acts undertaken by our founding mothers. After all, as the women of Malolos demonstrated, the mere suggestion that ordinary Filipinos, women and men, should receive an education was in their time a revolutionary one.
Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagnood ngayong hapon na ito. Join us tomorrow for an Oscar panel para pag-usapan ang mga nangyari sa Oscars this past Sunday. Maraming salamat po.